to hear of Uta Hagen, Trans Widow Uta Hagen YouTube channel, and utahagengrasswidow.wordpress.com with some dianthus, garden pinks. That's called a cheddar pink. I think it's after cheddar in England. And these are some of the other colors that they come in. And I think they're probably called pinks because they do tend to come in shades of pink. You can find white ones. This is an Alchemilla mollis, also known as lady's mantle. And we've got these beautiful kind of yellowy green flowers that are starting and fuzzy. I wish you could touch these fuzzy architectural leaves. All of these can grow in part sun and are good in shade and are perennials which come back every year. So this is a true testimony from a trans widow. Her moniker for us is going to be Anna Bellicosa. And Anna Bellicosa, you have the favored position of being my first video after we have reached, yay, over 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to subscribers, people who have submitted content, and people who have commented so positively. I do feel a sense of mission about this because so many of you have said, those of you who are trans widows or some kind of relative, a grieving sibling or someone grieving parent, you have said that hearing my words is helpful to you, and I'm really gratified by that. And it's in some ways things are getting easier for me. At certain points when I was doing this channel, I wondered whether I should be giving as much information and kind of going back and digging up all these details from my past. But I think it's very important, and one of the reasons I think it's important is that I want these guys and their therapists to know that we don't forget, and we are going to tell stories as they happened in our lives. We have that right, and I feel it actually as an obligation. So I asked Anna a few questions, and she said, I never found a cross-dressing wardrobe for him, and he never admitted to going out of state or seeing a prostitute or cross-dressing. However, she found proof of all of those things. Back in 1999, almost a year after being married, so she and I are on a pretty similar track. She's probably just a little younger than me. I thought I was coming home late after work the way I normally did. When I heard the music blaring so loud I wanted to cover my ears, I thought to myself, what the hell? All the blinds were shut and all the lights were on, which was very unsettling. I found him passed out on the couch, naked. He was spread eagle laying on his back. He had thrown up, it was next to his face, on the couch cushion, and had a device in one hand, hanging down to the floor. I'll leave that to your imagination. I thought he was dead. When I rushed over to wake him up, he opened his eyes and I was relieved to find him alive and had to do a double take. He was just beginning to try to open his eyes, and I caught a glimpse of the bright blue eyeliner and matching mascara he had on. Even worse, it was my old makeup. What are we going to do? Put our makeup in, a safe? He attempted to shove the device under the couch, but it wouldn't fit under the reclining seat of the sectional. He got up and had to throw up once more into the toilet. I followed him, and then, knowing he was fine in that moment, I needed to stop that music. I could barely think with the volume of the music, and as I turned it down, I realized it wasn't only the music, but the TV was on too, blasting the sound of snow. I had to move the vacuum cleaner out of the way, and it was near the TV. Then I heard the washing machine was on. He was doing laundry of his work clothes, and he did a job somewhere having to do with vehicles that is typically occupied by men. Um, there were two glasses, wine glasses, on the coffee table and one in the bathroom. All the blinds were down in the entire house. I was left puzzled, confused, and in the dark over much of what I was experiencing. All I could think of was, it was a prank and someone did this to him? He just stared at me, no blinking. He wouldn't say a word. I asked, I begged, I pleaded for answers, and all he would say was, I wondered what it was like being a woman. So, based on that, I think we can assume that he had some kind of specialist prostitute over, and they had consumed some wine and probably some drugs. And he's lucky to be alive because uh, goodness knows what might have really happened. We have plenty of stories that are in the news about that. So, but apparently, I mean, just I think we can extrapolate that he was engaged in some kind of sex role play that he paid a person to come over and do while his wife was away working hard outside of the house. And, you have to ask yourself, uh, was this the only time that this happened at home? I mean, it's quite a violation to realize that things like that have been happening in your home. I had no one to turn to that could understand what I was going through or could shed light on answers. He refused. He wouldn't give me any. I was more worried about him than my own well being. Decades later, I was determined to get my answers after I'd reached my breaking point of the lies and deception. That's when I found his appointment to see, I'm going to call her Mistress Chesty, uh, to see Mistress Chesty in the next state, who claimed to be a feminizer in a tagline at the bottom of the email. This was a response that called him Big Dick. And it was his name right there, together with all that. After he had reached out and was asking her to give him a tune-up. So from that, a tune-up, interesting, the vehicle reference, but tune-up, you would assume that means he's been paying for this as a habit in the past. He couldn't deny it. I woke him up out of a dead sleep to confront him on it. It took me decades to get any other truth about what was going on, and I still didn't get much. Other than that, it was a fetish, and he admitted to taking my pantyhose out of the trash as part of it, only because I confronted him with the undeniable truth of that email. The level of manipulation and covert abuse he was using on me regularly suddenly made sense of how he operated, right? So he's tearing up the person closest to him to boost his ego. Or he's tearing down, I should say. It wasn't that he didn't understand what he was doing to hurt me. I told him repeatedly he'd been doing it because he enjoyed it. It was all part of the power and control he was seeking, that he went as far as to pay for what he wanted done and was controlling how he would be punished for his sick behavior that he enjoyed doing as I was trying to understand him. So, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of twisted interpretations of their own behavior and this idea of being punished And this need to, in a way, be naughty or something that seems to go along with a lot of the drag queen stuff and the dominatrix kind of stuff. So it appears that he was pretty deep into this. And it could very well be that he was using the uh, oxytocin and dopamine of these paid for sexual encounters to run away as a method to run away from some childhood trauma or sexual abuse. And he's turning off other negative feelings, depression and anxiety, by going down a sort of twisted use of prostitution. It was all part of the power and control he was seeking. Uh, I was trying to understand him. On the website, it looks like this Mistress Chesty is a male. It's pretty interesting, she says to me, if you want to check it out. I thought about this. I thought, would I see the tells, the Adam's apple, the brow, the shoulder to hip ratio on the website? And I just decided I don't want other stuff coming into my feed because of checking that out. I have a pretty good idea of this just from uh, the reading in between the lines, you could say. Uh, yeah, I do understand, though. She says, seeing it might help you to understand what it was like for me to find this. Yes, I'm sure that you were absolutely in shock. You felt completely betrayed. This is infidelity. I don't care whether there was actual sexual intercourse or not. This was infidelity. During the divorce, I locked both doors to the bedroom, the one next to the head of the bed and the second door by the foot of the bed on the other side of the room. So she's gotten herself out of the bedroom. She's in a situation now where she wants to get away from this, but financially, she's just not able to, uh, make it happen. Uh, I wore my glasses on my face and slept with my dog and our two cats. I parked my car by the bedroom window with the gas tank side toward me and shades up to watch that too. He'd tampered with my car over the past year, and I realized my near death experiences were looking more like accidents he was wanting to happen. I have this sense too because I had pneumonia very, very severely when my children were 6 months and 3 years old. And Nettie was not doing what a helpful husband, a solicitous husband, would do to make sure that I'm getting enough fluid, that he would be calling the doctor if I'm getting worse, taking my temperature. He, I think, kind of wanted me to die, but I am kind of made of stainless steel and I did recover. I told him that he was dead to me because the man I married never really existed. I cut him out totally and completely, and those connected to him, which included my best friend, even my own family, who he was lying to behind my back. Yeah, they do this. They try to alienate all of the other people around you and isolate you. Uh, he he had them, her family, believing that she was the one who was going crazy. I'm pretty familiar with that too. He was the popular guy. Everyone thought they knew. I think she mentioned at one point he was really kind of handsome and good looking. Uh, and yet he was an illusion of what he pretended to be. I was the only one who knew any real part of him at all, except perhaps I believe his mother and brother knew. Now, that goes back to me to the idea that maybe something was going on in his childhood. Um, Anna, you could get in touch with me, and if there's any further pieces of information that you want to add, I'll make a part two. He was very subtle, usually blamed others for saying things he couldn't, um, and he was passive aggressive and gave backhanded compliments. Withholding information was his biggest power. Yeah, they like having a secret life. They pretend that they're like in the French Resistance or something. His form of bragging was acting overly humble, which got him compliments and admiration. Yeah, yes. He lied about things both big and small, things easily proven, and yet who would double check on these things that don't matter? Well, I started to, and I saw the pattern. If he could make anyone look bad or anyone else look stupid, then he felt smarter. See, this all to me reveals some kind of psychopathy in his childhood, and I'm sort of wondering about what was going on with the dad. I should add that he pretended to be what you wanted him to be, and then he would do something or say something cruel, and it would set you off guard and leave you confused. I love nature like you. He knew that. I was excited to find a big spider on the step outside. I called him over, and he was resistant, something which is something he was good at. He was irritated at me. I said, "It's cool. You'll see." He walked over and looked at the spider with a smile on his face, and with his big work boot, he stopped it dead. Oh, I was like, "Why did you do that?" He said, "I thought you wanted me to kill it for you." Classic. Uh, this is the same guy no one has a bad thing to say about. Uh, I understand his mindset beyond the illusion of the always smiling guy who is quiet, friendly, and such a good listener and pretends to be your best friend. He was just gathering data to use and abuse you later in ways that you don't see happening. Thank you, Annabella Cosa. Um, he has kind of dropped out of the picture. Thank goodness she did get divorced from him, and she is like all of the rest of us, working on her healing. And I do wish you, Annabella Cosa, um, complete and a very soon feeling of healing. Nature is a good place to start. So, back outside.